Spoiler! Hello ladies and gentles, and welcome to my video. Today we are painting Sigourney Weaver, the #1 action hero, the queen of the 80s movies, just one of my favourite actresses, the first actress I ever saw on the big screen kicking ass, and she influenced so much after that. If you've seen a video I did a while back of Kurt Russell, 4 Kurt Russells in 4 of his most famous roles, that was a commission for a dude called Lee. I hope you don't mind me name checking you. And he said to me, let's do another one. And he said, I want to do Sigourney Weaver. And I was like, oh yes, let's do Sigourney Weaver. First off, we had to pick the 4 roles. The first 2 were always going to be Alien. As you'll see here, I'm painting Ripley. And the second was always going to be Zool, or Dana from Ghostbusters, which you will see me painting in a minute. The other 2, it was which ones we were going to do, and in the end we went for Grace from Avatar and Gwen from Galaxy Quest. Fantastic film. Working Girl, Gorillas and Mist were also in the options, but we went for these 4. And shall I talk about the painting? Why not? Segmented the canvas up into 4 bits, 4 halves, 4 quadrants, and started with Ripley, which you just saw, and I spoke over it, so I hope you understood what was going on there. And now we're going over to Zool, or Dana from Ghostbusters. Fantastic role. She's fantastic in that film. And, you know, it is probably, whereas Aliens has spanned different eras, Ghostbusters, for me, is very much 80s. And mind you, I haven't seen that new one, but I did see the other new one, which was terrible. So let's talk about the painting. All the faces are close up, so portraits, all in this monochromatic grey, or monotones, but they're grey. These greys I mixed in pots before I started the painting. They're a mix of, I think it's called neutral grey from Liquitex, then some ivory black, and then some titanium white, and just mix up and down. Pretty simple. You just got to make sure you mix enough, otherwise trying to mix to match is quite difficult. And then black, as you can see. The Ripley one we just saw was her in the what was it, the cage loader thing. This obviously is Dana when she becomes Zool, and she has that manic look in her eyes and that massive nuts hair, which we'll come back to. Now we're going down to the bottom left, and we are going to Grace from Avatar. Probably the character I know the least of out of these 4. But what made this one so great to paint was that it's older. It's an older Sigourney, and you're playing with different skills when you're painting someone who's older. Obviously, there's more wrinkles. This one is not as close, so her eyes aren't as big. Whereas the angry, like wolf eyes of Alien and the manic of Zool, this is more contemplative. So you paint the eyes much smaller. There's less makeup. But Lee was really passionate to have the cigarette in there, and we could not find a decent shot in the film with her smoking a cigarette. So the cigarette has been faked. This is not a cigarette that you'll see from the shot in the film. Fortunately, my misspent youth meant I knew how to paint a cigarette. I thought she was going to be hard. I thought she was going to be the problem one, the one that I struggled the most. Actually, she was particularly easy. And I've always said this with older faces, they've got so much more character. And it's just more fun to paint. I don't know what it is, that more haggard look. That sounds insulting, didn't mean insulting, but you know what I mean. Then we go over to the complete opposite, and we go to Gwen from Galaxy Quest. Now, in that film, she is playing this soap star, so she is perfect hair, perfect makeup, which actually made this one the one that I actually struggled on the most, which I was really surprised at. I thought this would be the easiest because it's just like a cover girl. I thought her hair would be a pain in the ass, which it wasn't a pain in the ass. It was actually quite simple. It just took a long time. I much prefer painting dark hair to blonde hair. Blonde hair, you've got to work with these much lighter tones. Whereas dark, you've got a lot more. That was my dog barking in the background. Hope you heard that. Lost my train of thought there. Where were we? We're on Gwen. Her eyes obviously in the reference photographs got lots of makeup on, popping eyes. The eyes I knew were going to be pretty simple, and if you've watched any of my videos, I always say you can mess up everything in the painting. If you get the eyes right, you'll be fine. Here, now we go to something I don't normally show in videos because it doesn't happen to me too much. I'm really old, and I've been doing this a long time. I don't bugger things up often, but this mouth went wrong. First off, this went wrong because I painted the teeth too much, so they looked jokerish. Took them out, So then painted the teeth, or drew the teeth a bit more simple. And this time it just didn't work. As you can see, look, it looks like it's going in. It's too high. Let's get rid of that. And then the third attempt, when I suddenly realised, actually, it's not the mouth, it's the jawline. It's the jawline that's pushing the mouth out. So I think that second mouth would have been okay if I had sorted out the jawline. Anyway, I get it right this time. And you'll see in a minute, I changed the highlighting on the jaw, and I thinned the jaw in a minute, and that fixed it. So the quadrants, if you saw the little splash at the beginning, I'm having to spray paint these, so I'm masking them all off. This takes forever, so I just put down frog tape and then use a knife to cut around the hair and get the sort of shapes, and then mask off or block off the face with some card. Now we're at the spray desk. We're going to start with Zool, and we're going to use Dare Orange, which reflects or references her amazing dress. Then down Avatar, we didn't go blue, we went for this sort of watercolour. I think it was called Riviera Dark. Then with Ripley, we've gone for this amazing blue, which is called Wild Wayne. It's a really cool blue. I've never used it before. And then the red is Tornado. So that's to reference the jackets. It's not quite as crimson as jackets in Galaxy Quest, but it worked. Then I've done this masking off to do these white lines to separate them. That masking off took forever, getting that all lined up. And then you do a couple of sprays of white, and we're there. And the quadrants is sort of this Warhol-esque look, I guess. And then the bit that gives me the most pleasure, getting back in there with the black and making this sort of stylized comic book look, using Posca pens, using acrylic paint, usually using golden, and this just you can see that I've sorted out that jaw and the mouth. This just gives it the pop, gives it the depth, gives it the detail. If I'm spraying the background, I always leave this right to the end, adding on the pops of light, the highlights, the reflections, the loader lines. As you can see, I quite like how the two bottom hairs are quite neat, and then the two top ones are absolutely nuts. I don't know, it wasn't something I was expecting. It was just cool when I looked at it, especially her hair, which in a minute I add more sort of strands to. Ripley, I don't know, Ripley's just so cool. She's probably one of my favorite all-time characters, so painting her was a bloody pleasure, and I would do it all the time. We're fixing Zuldana's eyes. She's looking manic there, so the sort of sexy, weird manic she has, and then adding in the strands of this mental hair, which looks really, really cool. And I really like how the two. Oh, I forgot to film painting the smoke, so there we go. Smoke. That was just a nice thick white. Oh, we added a quote to the side. The only way to be sure. Where's my goddamn cigarette? This episode was badly written, which I really like that one. And are you the keymaster? So cool. And there she is. Oh, they are. This painting was brilliant to do. I love painting these four ones. The Lee commissioned me to do these twice now. Is such a pleasure. And I think we will be doing more, which I cannot wait. 80s movies were the best. I just loved it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a pleasure to paint. I think it's come out really, really good. I think Ripley is probably my favourite. And there she is. So let me know what you think of the painting. Blah, 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 blah. See you soon. Bye-bye.